Welcome. This is the September 20th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to start the meeting by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's decisions will be published in the Record Journal on Friday, September 24th, 2021. The effective date of your variance will be Friday, September 24th, 2021. The date a certified copy is recorded on the land records. The statutory 15-day appeal period will expire on Sunday, October 10th, 2021. If you commence operations and/or construction during the appeal period, you do so at your own risk. Voting tonight is Sam Carmody, Tom Wolfer, Karen Harris, Ray Rise, and myself, Joe Russick. First application is 21-017 for Ben Haven, 50 North Plains Highway. I'm going to read the staff comments. Applicant requests a side yard of 19.2 feet where 25 feet is required to construct a 30 by 100 foot two-story addition at 50 North Plains Highway in an I-40 district. Proposal requires wetlands approval as per memorandum from Aaron O'Hare dated July 2nd, 2021. Following determination from ZBA, applicant will need to also proceed with planning and zoning for site plan approval. Proposed addition requires variance with respect only to southern corner of building due to parcel shape and building orientation. Is anybody here representing Ben Haven? Come on up and please have a seat here. Thank you. Please pull the microphone close to you and state your name and address for the record.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so my name's John Baldino. I work with Ben Haven, have been for over 30 years.
A little closer so we can hear you.
So I work with Ben Haven, have been for over 30 years. Our headquarters is 187 Half Mile Road in North Haven.
Okay.
This is one of our school properties in Wallingford. We have two of them. Parallel roads, one on North Plains Industrial Road. This one is on 50 North Plains Highway. And it's a school for autistic children. And the need is ever growing. And Ben Haven's a very professional company I'm proud to be part of, and they have a need for more classrooms. And to meet that need, we felt for us, it was the most expedient way was to expand the side of that building so we could have some additional classrooms for students.
Okay.
That's what it's for.
So you're going to expand the southern western side, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Towards the wetlands, yes.
Yeah. And it's going to be 30 by 100?
That's what we would hope we could get permission to do, yes, sir.
Okay. And there was no other place to put the addition?
That school is our high school, and that's where the student. We have another school, but that's not for the high school. So that's the only place it could go because of the not just the topography of the land, but the driveway is on the opposite side that enters from that road. It abuts it. It's like 4 feet away from it, so we can't expand it. And I think you have to be a certain amount of feet from another building. So that's the only. We can't go back. We can't go front. We can't go to one side. That's the only side we can go.
Okay, so that's your hardship?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant? Mr. Wolfer, go ahead.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. It mentions in the additional correspondence that we have for this application from Aaron O'Hare, the environmental planner, as to the bioretention area appears to be eliminated by this new construction. Where is it on the new, where have you relocated to?
Well, when we have the approval to go forward, we will move it, but I'm not certain. My understanding of the rain gardens is they're just in front of it, and they're on the back side of it where you're saying it would be affected, which we'll just move it. We'll move it towards the south, and I think it would be the east. So there's enough room for the water that right now is a retention area, or I think it's a rain garden, is that what you're referring to? There's two of them on that side. One would not be affected, one would be partially, and it would be moved to other space we have in that property.
But you haven't submitted any
No, sir.
plans as to how you're going to do this for her approval to look at, is
And
that
for
correct?
that, I would apologize because I didn't know that at this stage, that's what we needed. This was the surveyor, Winterbourne Land Services, provided the surveying and the recommendations to go forward. At this point, my understanding was we get approval for a variance, and then we come up with the design of the building and the location that the civil engineer will give us for the water.
Either yes or no. Don't you think that having this new plan on paper to submit to Erin O'Hare for her approval prior to you doing half the job and then moving it somewhere else?
Well, when you say don't I think, I'm only here representing what we want to accomplish. We have a surveyor and an engineer that have, given me sort of a protocol to follow. If they're not even going to let us do this, then they suggested don't spend the money for the architecture of the building and the civil engineering of the property time. And that may be, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm only saying I'm following professional advice from our civil engineer and our surveyor. So I'll go, if we have to postpone this and come back with more, we'll do that.
Thank you for your answer. Mr. Chairman, I have a question for staff, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Amy, does Erin have to sign off on this first before anybody else? I mean, obviously, the applicant wants to do something now, and then when it's, I guess, either approved, I don't know, then change it and what have you. But doesn't she have to?
That would be, Mr. Wolford, that would be wetlands approval, that they'll have to go through the process with wetlands with their application for such. It's out of the purview of Zoning Board of Appeals. We're strictly looking at the location of the building being appropriate to grant the variance within the setback. They'll have to go through wetlands approval, and then from there, they have to both precede the Zoning Board of Appeals, and wetlands approvals or determinations need to precede, planning and zoning approval. So they'll pick up all that the detention basin is relocated in an appropriate spot according to wetlands and according to planning and zoning. So your purview today is strictly to give them the determination on the location of the building before they can proceed on for those other approvals potentially.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Anybody else got any questions? No? Is anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? Hearing none, do you have anything further to add before we
No,
go
I
to?
want to thank you. Thank you, Thomas.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve a variance request for side yard setback of 19.2 feet to construct a two-story 30 by 100-foot addition as shown on improvement location survey depicting proposed buildings addition on land of Benhaven, Incorporated at 50 North Plains Highway dated June 1st, 2021, and plans rendering received 6/18/21, subject to comments from the Health Department received September 13th, comments from the Water Department and Sewer Division dated July 8th, and comments from Environmental Planner dated July 2nd. So moved.
Second.
Do that. Motion to approve, Mr. Carmody.
Yes to approve.
Mr. Wolfer.
Yes to approve.
Mr. Rice.
Yes to approve.
Ms. Harris.
Yes to approve.
And Chairman Russick.
Yes to approve. Your application's been approved. All right, next variance request is 21-019, variance request for Sigdy, 68 North Turnpike Road. Sorry about Applicant seeks to expand a non-conforming use where no expansion is permitted to permit an after-the-fact parking lot expansion and outside vehicle storage at 68 North Turnpike Road in a DD 40 district. Property was granted special permit approval and site plan approval in September 2003. Original use was non-conforming gas station repair facility, predates the inception of zoning and is not permitted in a DD 40 zone. Zoning regulations do not permit changing one non-conforming use to another non-conforming use, except by special permit when the change is to a non-conforming use less objectionable. In this particular case, the special permit and accompanying site plan were eliminating the repair facility, maintaining the service station, and changing the repair component to permitted use of retail convenience store. Special permit site plan were approved with specific conditions of approval and accompanying specific site elements. August 2020, this office received numerous complaints from property manager and property owners abutting to the rear of stormwater being diverted to their properties as a result of expanded impervious surfaces parking area. Site visit on 8/20/21 with town engineer Allison confirmed all landscaping with exception of southeast strip of parcel had been removed and replaced with cement and stone covering 75% of the parcel. U-Haul vehicles also stored in required parking for rental. April 2021 property manager of abutting property provides pictures of recurring drainage storage issues persisting. Final notice of violation issued as property owner has not restored site to as per special permit site approval. Property owner seeks use variance permit expansion of parking lot and storage of vehicles following cease and desist order to remove, restore, and remediate. There is no apparent hardship other than self-created for financial gain and as a result of numerous violations. Furthermore, though parking area has been expanded and reconfigured, coupled with an addition of vehicle storage and required parking proves parking requirement for the site insufficient and requiring additional variance not sought. This office cannot support granting this use variance request and recommends the board seriously consider the facts and deny the request. Section 9.1H.1, Wallingford zoning regulations. Welcome. Could you come please up and have a seat? State your name and address for the record. Also, we have correspondence from the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have another from the Engineering Department. And then I believe there's some correspondence from the budding property owner, One Stop Properties. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record. Please pull the microphone close to you so we can hear you.
My name is Farhan Siddiqui.
Get a little closer so we can hear you, please.
My name is Farhan Siddiqui, and I live in Brantford. And I started this business in January 2000, when all the businesses getting dead. And
A little closer. You can pull the microphone closer to you.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Thank you.
So I bought this location, this property, in January 26, 2020. When after that, this all COVID-19 and everything started, and the business completely dead. The gas station was kind of sleeping there. We were not doing anything. There was no business. And as I mentioned in my notes, I think I wrote down all the notes. I don't know if someone get a chance to look at those, that what is the reason to do this? What was the reason to do this? Make the driveways in the back, because there were so many incidents on our tank area that people were parking there and they were damaging the tank, which is like very, very critical area, where they fill up the gas and the gas tanks underground. And when they were doing that, that was causing a big problem. They were damaging the gutters, so that was the parking which was, I guess, approved previously, which I don't know why the town approved it. That is illegal to cover that, basically. But I don't want to go to that portion. I'm just mentioning that I blocked those so no one can park there, and I made, as I mentioned all the notes, my mind is not that good. I lose my mind. I got encephalitis, so that's why I don't remember. That's why I wrote down everything. If you read those, every note I wrote down that I called the police, I called this, everything was happening there. 3 people attacked there. I met to mayor also. Police hasn't arrested that person who hit me, who broke my phone. Like, there were a lot of incidents happening to me at that location. And if you go to police, I'm logging against police also that why didn't arrested him. Mayor wanted to that, yes, he wanted to arrest. He looked at the video that he was hitting me, he was grabbed my phone.
Okay, but
This town was causing this problem in my business.
All right.
Because no one stopped coming in there. There was no parking lot.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but we're here to discuss how this all got going from one part of where it was approved, and then all of a sudden, all this stone and expanded parking and concrete was poured. And now it's a violation of what was approved there, and it's causing water runoff to your neighbor.
That's not correct. I need the proof of that water. I have wrote down clearly the new map created. I removed based on the, whoever does the mapping thing, approved map. I paid him $4,000, which was kind of nothing. I don't know whether.
The pictures that were given to us show in the back.
That was before everything happened. Everything changed. That's before the map date. If you look at the map, final map came in.
According to the planning office, they're telling us that you're in violation with all this work that was done. This isn't what was approved back in, was it 2003?
Right, but because I needed that parking lot where I should drive, where the people will park.
But you're missing the point, is I understand you need it, but it's not approved for zoning there.
Yeah, I didn't apply it. I didn't know that at that time. That's why my first time I started this, and I was making a driveway portion to exit from there, so there's no accident or anything. Yes, that's definitely my fault, that I should have started wherever I wanted to make the changes. I needed to get approval.
Right.
Which I never did in my life, so that's why I didn't know that that's the rule. I thought maybe my land, so I will be making a driveway only. Yes, building, I know that if I'm changing the building or something, now I know that at least I cannot make any change in any commercial or residential area without the approval.
Right, so the reason why you're here is because you failed to correct the problem. And for what you're requesting has very little to do with what the planning office is telling you have to remove, because you're not approved to have the U-Haul trucks, and you're not approved to have all that extra in the back.
Yeah, that's what I'm requesting now, that if it's like how it is bothering someone, so I can know I don't want to bother anyone. If any neighbors is getting bothered or any other person getting bothered, if I'm earning something, working by myself, how it is bothering someone who's getting paid by the state, by the town, and I'm working myself 7 days a week. They know all.
Right, but you were given a cease and desist, and no corrections have been made.
I did that correction, what they wanted, that do not touch the previous one, even though they use my land, that is a separate thing. We asked them that, how about that? They said, no, you need to talk to them, that if they're using their driveway, their garage is in my land portion. But anyways, that's totally separate. But I removed that, and it's only the, whatever was approved, 12 parking for the car parkings, that's what only I have right now. After that, I removed everything. The driveway is still there, exit driveway, that because they cannot come back from the same way which was before there. Because that's very, like maybe not even 15 feet. So they cannot drive back, so that's why I made that driveway to exit from there.
Right. Amy, could you give an explanation to the board of what, because you were out there, right?
I was out there with the town engineer, Allison Kapuscinski, for the name help.
It does.
Because we had, initially, that was when I was alerted of the violation as a result of stormwater, which it slopes to the rear property. So with all this surface, we noticed, and of course I had the town engineer present with me, we saw that there was some sort of cement and plastic and assorted materials covering the entire property where grassy landscaped areas were identified in 2003. So water does run off the impervious surface. We issued a notice of violation on site at that time to Mr. Siddiqui. He's been, I will say, he's been quite responsive, and there's been quite a bit of contact with the office, but we tried to make him understand that unfortunately, the gas station is not a permitted use today by our regulations in a DD 40 zone. So in order to maintain that gas station, in 2003, the owner at the time sought a special permit to take some of that non-permitted use, that non-conforming use, because it was also a repair facility, and add a convenience store. So it was moving more toward conformity. Again, being able to lay claim to the existing gas station component because it was predating zoning. At that time, it was a very specific site plan, which I believe you've all been provided with, which shows landscaped areas. They've all been removed. There is no grass but one strip to the rear of the property, and there were also some rental vehicles, some trucks located in the identified parking. So the expansion of the parking lot is an expansion of a non-conforming use.
Is there any proof of this, what she said? Can she prove that?
She's, right now, she's talking, so please let her finish, and then we'll, go ahead, Amy.
And the map that was provided you by the surveyor currently shows what the surfaces now are. Decorative stone, I believe he calls it in some places, gravel. Again, the landscaping has been removed, and very specific conditions of approval existed in 2003, which was to maintain the grassy areas. So unfortunately, a new property owner has to subscribe to that same special permit. Again, it's a use permit. Nothing had happened, and the complainant returned again in April. We did give certainly excess time for remediation with COVID and certainly the impacts on individuals and businesses to fix it, but it was causing detriment to abutting property. So we revisited it, issued another violation. We've had many meetings with the property owner and explained that the only remediation is to remove it and restore it as approved. And his own map confirms that. And to also, unfortunately, eliminate the vehicle storage, which there's no room for. There's no outside storage permitted in the front. There's no outside storage capabilities on the site. So that would also be an expansion. So, and he did comply with that and has removed the vehicles from, we said, at least until coming to you all. And again, the applicant has been advised this was sort of a last resort. He had every right to pursue this avenue for a use variance, but otherwise the remediation is to restore.
Does anybody have any questions for Amy over that?
Yeah, just for my clarification, Amy, this property has currently how many violations? I know there's the use violation, there's a violation with regard to landscaping, right? And then
It all falls under use, Mr.
It all
Carmody.
falls
Basically, in other words, he's using he's expanded the site elements, and again, expanding the parking lot is expanding the use. So as in adding the vehicle storage, even though it's outside storage and it's site elements, it's still a use variance. He's using the property in a manner that is non-conforming. So they all fall under the umbrella. The site element is hand in hand a companion to the special permit.
And well, thank you for that. And just from my understanding, for one to expand the use, is this the only avenue that they would use is to come to the ZBA, or would they go to the Planning and Zoning Commission to expand that use?
And I cited the regulations that it mentions, and we're talking about nonconformities. And so basically, any nonconformity, as addressed in staff comments, can be changed, and the word they use is less objectionable in the regulations, to one less objectionable, which is how the convenience store component was added in 2003, because they were eliminating that which remained non-conforming, which is the desired outcome. You want to move toward conformity. In this case, it's moving in the opposite direction, so there is no recourse, but restore as per approved. So, and the site plan in this case, we had a detailed site plan. That's why the company's showing where the landscaping is, where the parking was. That was what was approved, and that is what needs to happen. It's the only recourse.
And so my understanding is since 2003, the property has become more non-conforming, and there's been no action taken by the applicant to try and rectify that situation until this evening.
It remained as per the special permit approval in 2003 until 2020, when we were advised, and that was freshly removed greenery, if you will, and it was by the current property owner. So it was compliant.
Sorry,
It was compliant until the property owner transferred the property to the applicant in January, as he stated. It was in August, when we were alerted that this had just occurred. So the expansion without permission, if you will, was recent, and it was only from the current property owner. It was in compliance prior to that. So.
Okay. That's it for now. Thanks.
Anybody else got any questions? For Amy, why we have Amy? So hearing what Amy has to say, it seems that since 2020 that this violation has happened, and we're looking for the hardship, why you think that we should grant you this variance.
Sir, you know about that business, that completely, I bought this location. After that, I was kind of sleeping there because I opened the store, I closed the store, the gas, everything. And the sale, you can easily monitor in all over the world, at least in Connecticut, that what it was, what my gas purchase price was when I bought it from there. After that, what it was, the store sale. There is a small restaurant there. We operate everything together at one spot. Lottery was there also. Lottery was installed back in May. So there was no business. Then we started the U-Haul because the parking lots were there. At least no customers coming. We said, at least we can rent the U-Haul. We can make some money. We don't own anything. We just added some other work for us instead of just sleeping there, because that was complete. And it is still, if you look at our what is that called, accounting system, you will see that what it was, and completely loss I was doing. Why I did it myself? They know all construction, everything I was doing, because I was no work to do there. I was running the shift and doing this all stuff.
But it's outside of the regulations to have the U-Hauls and to expand what was expanded.
U-Haul, if you ask all customers or all neighbors or all the town area, they are very confident and they are very happy that I had that close by. And I am the only one who opens until 10 p.m.
I understand it's good for your business, but it's not allowed in the regulations for the zone that you're in.
But sir, they allow the car, one of the option I selected here, that it allows the cars or the trucks or something on the back also. There was an option selected there. That's the legal rule. That the mayor told me that select this option, because that allows us to rent or something, the pickup trucks or something that is allowed for that area, that section 20 or something.
Okay. Well.
But basically how it is hurting someone, that's my basic thing.
Well, it's first off, you're hurting the neighbors behind you from
Sir,
water runoff.
why they didn't come up, there's no water, sir, that's for sure. I just verified that, and when they mentioned to me about this thing, whatever the driveway, I removed that all. So now everything is here, only the parking is there in their area. That the new map mentions that, all the information, that there's how much stuff is for water staying inside, in my not going there, sir. That's the problem. I realized that was before, because it was, and this was not concrete or anything was done on that area, at least the backyard. That was the stone which I just moved it around another 10 feet here, so only 4 cars will be parked there. That's it. And that area was completely, all are grass. If you review this map, the information they sent you, it will not match with that. And also the front, which was the state, that was all broken. I fixed it myself. I called the town hall, they came in, they said, no, that state owns that, they need to fix it. I waited 1 month for state, they never fixed that. I fixed their concrete myself. Whatever that called, where the plants are, and I used their place, I cleaned it, I put the plastic, and on that white stone. Everything is my cost and my labor. No one paid me, not like their salary we pay. I pay myself.
Okay. So, has anybody got any questions for the applicant?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Is there anybody here to speak against this application? Do you have anything further to add before I close the public hearing and open up for discussion of possible action by the board?
No, I'm asking me?
Yes.
No, sir, I mentioned that I need this is helping me.
Okay. So I'm going to close the public hearing and open it up for discussion and possible action by the board. I just want to remind the board that any motion that we make should be a motion for, in favor, and then we'll either vote it up or down. Just a reminder for everybody, okay? Thanks.
I will make that motion. Hello?
There you go.
Make a motion to approve a variance request to expand non-conforming use by expanding parking area and adding vehicle storage as shown on site plan prepared for One Stop Properties LLC, 68 North Turnpike Road, dated 7/25/21, subject to comments from the Health Department received on 9/13/21. So moved.
I second that.
Motion to approve. Mr. Carmody?
No to approve.
Mr. Wolfer?
No to approve.
Ms. Harris?
No to approve.
Vice Chair Rice?
No to approve.
Chairman Russick?
No, your application's been denied. The next variance request is for 21-020, a variance request for Montin, I'm having a tough time tonight. Montin for 952 North Farms Road. Applicant seeks front yard of 49.6 feet where 50 feet is required for a 663 square foot single-story addition to the rear of the attached garage at 952 North Farms Road in an RU40 district. Applicant has erected the addition in 2019 without zoning approval. Zoning location survey obtained in 2019 prior to applying for a building permit identifies the requirement for a setback variance approval. Though the request is for less than 1 foot, approval is sought after the fact and should have been sought prior to construction. Also, 21-021, special exception request for the same address, 952 North Farms Road. Applicant seeks special exception approval for garage area of 2,331 square feet, where 932 square feet exists, and 1,018 square feet is permitted to erect a 1,399 square foot detached garage at 952 North Farms Road in an RU40 district. Garage has already been constructed, and though located properly on the parcel, no building permits were obtained, nor special exception approval sought. Just so before we get started with them, just want to let everybody know, we'll hear these at the same time since it's for the same address, and then we'll vote on them separately. Okay, welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Rosalind Page. I'm a professional land surveyor from Winterborne Land Services with an office at 604 Center Street in Wallingford.
My name is Marcello Montin. I live at 952 North Farms Road.
How do you say your last name?
Montin?
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Go ahead, Rosalind.
All right, so with regards to the variance request, as has been stated in the letter from the zoning enforcement officer, the applicant did apply for in 2019 and did receive a building permit to construct this addition.
The 600, the first one, 663 square foot, is that where you're?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so we have a copy of the building permit that, he applied for with the building department, and we have a copy of the sign-off list, which includes planning and zoning, the health department, and the inland wetlands and watercourses. So he did submit our 2019 zoning location survey at the time of applying for a building permit. What appears to have happened is that there was some sort of miscommunication. That's the only thing I can think of, is that he acquired his building permit, going by the normal procedures. He handed in his map, which we had prepared for him. He handed in his building plans, and it didn't get picked up on the fact that he may have needed a variance. We did check with the town planner beforehand, and she didn't indicate that we needed a variance. So it appears to me there was some lack of or miscommunication. So we have been asked to come here and obviously apply for variance after the fact, which is not normally how I would certainly proceed, and I'm sure my client would not have proceeded in that way.
Correct, we frown on that. So to get the story straight on this, you came to the town, you applied for your building permit, you got the building permit, and at that time, nobody said you need to go next door to planning and zoning and, you know, the town planner, and question whether you have enough room to do this or not.
We
Hold the
did-
microphone close to you so
I'm
we can hear
sorry.
you. There you go.
I did go and talk to them.
You
And
did
they-
talk to them?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
what was said?
It was 2 years ago, but they gave me my permit. I mean, they talked to each other and they agreed to give me my permit, so that's all I know. I got my permit, I thought I was ready to go.
And then you,
So,
and then you built the addition and,
Yes.
okay. Amy, could you explain what happened on 21-020 first? From what you know as far as what happened and how this went about.
I'll speak to what I know.
Okay, that's fine.
And as a result of the applicant coming to the office, and what prompted it, it was more a discussion regarding the garage, which is part of the special exception request. It was to true that up. There was no known violations on this property, but there was no permits taken for the garage. As a result, showing the survey map that accompanied the building permit, which was pulled for the addition, it was noted that it was small, but there was would have been a variance needed, although small, inches, in fact, in one area. And it was presented as a discussion had occurred with the previous town planner, that it was no big deal or small, and I explained how that is not in the purview of the zoning office to make a determination that somebody doesn't have to move. It's the board's determination. It should have happened. It didn't happen, as Ms. Page said. I'm sure, perhaps an interpretation of what a small variance request doesn't mean we don't need to do it. So we are truing that up in arrears at the same time as dealing with the garage. So that's how this came about. So although it's small, and it is very small, it's one corner, it's half a foot or less, but it still needs to be determined by the Zoning Board of Appeals, not the Planning and Zoning Office.
So this is
easy oversight, but that's my understanding, and that's why I've directed them to come
And the
before you.
reason why I'm asking and trying to get explanation is because, as we know, we frown upon this, and this is a big no-no in my eyes, but I'm trying to understand, hearing both sides of this, that it seems like there was a miscommunication of some sort, possibly from the planning office, that was interpreted one way or another, and the permit was allowed, and everybody thought they were good. Okay. As far as this variance, and we're talking about the 663 square foot, before I ask to go on to the next one so we get explanation on how that was done, has anybody got any questions for this?
Mr. Chairman, I think you were able to get most of my questions answered on this, but just from my understanding, a survey was done prior to the building permit being taken out?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So we did know that there was about a foot that differed from what the regulations required.
I'm understanding it's 6 inches. Is that it,
I'm sorry,
Rosalind?
6 inches?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I'm understanding it's 6 inches. 1
there
inch,
was a-
6 inches. I mean,
I just know, I mean, I've been up here for a couple years now. I mean, I do know that we've had variances come before us for a foot or less. And so I was just confused by that, especially if there was a survey done prior to the building permit being taken out.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question? No? Can we move to the next for the garage, for 21-021?
Sure. So with respect to the garage that is built to the rear of the property, I cannot speak to the fact that there were no building permits taken out for that. The only thing I can speak to is the request for the special exception in terms of your criteria for you to grant a special exception. So this, your requirements for a special exception, for you to approve it, you have, as you know, 3 areas or 3 components that you have to look at in order to decide whether you're going to grant a special exception. The first one being that the nature, the location, the size, and the intensity of the use is such that it will be in harmony with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it's situated. So in this situation, you have an oversized lot. It's in an RU40 zone. It's about a 62,000 square foot lot in a sort of a semi-rural area of town, where there are other lots with similarly sized accessory structures on them, located on the same side of the street. I think 3 or 4 properties to the south and 3 or 4 properties to the north. There are similarly sized accessory buildings. So I think you could argue that it's not out of keeping with the neighborhood. The second item that you have to look at is that the nature of the use and the operations that are conducted in this particular structure will not be hazardous or inconvenient to the predominant character of the neighborhood. Taking into consideration things like, will there be excessive traffic resulting from this particular structure? And in this case, this existing structure is used primarily or exclusively for the landowner's personal items, such as his boat and his truck and yard maintenance equipment and so on and so forth. So it is not as though it's being used for a commercial activity, another business. He is storing his personal equipment in this structure. So in terms of it creating more of a traffic hazard for the neighborhood, I think that that's a given that it would not be impacting the traffic of the neighborhood by the use of it. And the third item, in terms of granting a special exception, is that the location, height of the buildings, the structures, and the location shall be of such a nature that it shall not hinder or discourage appropriate development and use of adjacent lands or buildings or impair the value thereof. And again, I think you could argue that this particular use and the particular location, and given the character of the neighborhood, that this will not impair the use of the neighbors' properties. Some neighbors already have similarly sized structures on their properties as well, so.
So my interest comes into, my main question is, how did this happen? And I know you can't add, so I'm gonna go, so how did this transpire? I mean, I understand you're here looking for forgiveness, and it
Yes.
was no violation, it was just to true everything up. I get that. But what you went through at the front of the house, I just trying to understand how this happened at the back of the house.
That happened a year or two before where I had built that barn, and I didn't know. I have to apologize for not
Hold
getting.
the microphone just a little closer to you.
I have to apologize for not getting the permit. I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. I didn't know. That was prior to me doing the addition on the house.
So the garage came first?
Yes, was there a year or two before. Well, it's still in the making. It's not totally done, but yes.
Okay, and so this is used for your storage or your,
Yes, well, primarily a boat in the off-season, and just miscellaneous stuff.
okay. Amy, back to you. How did this, I mean, I mean, we got the explanation on the front, but how did this all come about with the garage now? So when they came with
To the Planning and Zoning Department, when the property owner appeared, the applicant, it was to discuss the truing up, if you will, of structures such as this in the yard. That was what the presenting discussion was. As a result, that's when we talked about the variance and found that the variance should have happened. But the presenting discussion was regarding correcting what wasn't done for the garage, in this case, a special exception request. We didn't know about it. It was presented by the applicant, by the property owner, of his own admission that, wanted to do what was necessary to make sure that everything was correct. I can't speak to why, but that was what was presented. And that's where we found the variance. And I think in terms of the variance not being granted was perhaps interpreting something of insignificance in terms of size, meaning you didn't have to pursue the variance. That's where the misunderstanding was, and not we can skip it in this case. I think perhaps it was just an interpretation. But the presenting discussion was to true up a garage or structure that had never had a building permit. I can't speak to why. You'll have to speak to the applicant. But that was how I was brought, and we ended up here.
okay,
this being
so
the result.
the applicant came into the planning office and said, I have a boo-boo I want to fix. And-
Pretty much.
Okay, all right, just trying to
Yep, no,
understand
it was
how
of
this
their
all
own
came
accord.
about.
It was
I mean,
not.
I know that I asked you about it, and after reading everything, and you said that there was no violation, and it was all brought on by the applicant.
That is correct. There was no known violation. It was of the applicant's own accord to address it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for this 21-021? For the special exception?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Karen, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering, how long ago was this garage actually built?
2 years before, 4 years ago, I started it. So I did just the roof, and then it sat for a year, and then I put some sides on it, and it's still open, no doors.
So it's
four-
still not
4 years.
completed?
but still not completed, right? Well, it's pretty much done, but no doors. I may even leave it open. I don't necessarily need doors there, but
Can I ask you, probably what a lot of people are wondering, is what made you decide to go to see Amy about this?
I went through the addition and I knew that I needed the permits and all that was involved. I knew I made a mistake.
Okay,
I'm here to try to make it right.
okay. And the addition was done how long ago?
Well, the addition was 2 years ago. In October, it'll be 2 years.
Okay.
So I'm ready for a CO on that.
Okay,
But I need to do this first.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Answered my question.
So just, when you started to build this, was it going to be like a pole barn with just a roof and sides? Was it just going to be that, or were
It
you
was
originally
initially.
going to put sides on it and everything else?
Initially, it was just the roof, and then I ended up putting sides on it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know, I can understand part of that because I can see a lot of people think possibly that a pole barn with poles and a roof on it is not exactly a garage. I've heard, it's not true, but I've heard if it doesn't have doors on it, it doesn't count. Whether the town agrees with that or not is a different story. So has anybody else got, go ahead, Sam.
Thanks. So just for my understanding, currently you've already built 932 square feet of this barn or this structure, or a garage, I should say.
The barn in the back, yes, it's
Okay. And you're looking to erect another 1,399 square feet to complete the project?
Oh, no, the first square footage is the part of the house itself. The 1,399 is the barn that I already put up.
He's looking for a special exception for $1,399.
Yeah.
So when you add the total, right, Amy, you add the total for the garage in the front of the house, and that comes out to a total.
The special exception would be required for anything, total garage area over 1,018, I believe it was, and that includes what exists and what they're proposing. He had 932 existing already on the property.
Okay.
So he's looking to
I see.
erect a
All right,
1,399
and then
square foot.
okay, and so you need the approval for the 1,399 square feet, which has already been erected?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? You have anything further you'd like to add on either one? We're going to vote on them separately, but I'm going to close the public hearing on both of them.
Nothing further. Thank you.
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing on 21-020 and 21-021. And we will, like I said, make motions and vote on them separately.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion on 2120 variance request for front yard setback of 49.6 feet to construct a 663 square foot addition to dwelling at 952 North Farms Road, as shown on zoning location survey, map depicting existing house as built of new addition, land of Marcello Montin of 952 North Farms Road, dated August 19th, 2019, subject to comments from Health Department, received September 13th, 21. So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve. Mr.
Yes.
Carmody.
Yes to approve.
Mr. Wolfer.
Yes to approve.
Ms. Harris.
Yes to approve.
Vice Chair Rice.
Yes to approve.
And Chairman Russick.
No. Your application's been approved.
'21 or 021. Special except, I make a motion to approve special exception request for garage area of 2,331 square feet to construct a 1,399 square foot detached garage at 952 North Farms Road as shown on zoning location survey, map depicting existing house and as built of new addition, land of Marcello, Montin, 952 North Farms Road, dated August 19, 2019, subject to comments from the Health Department received on September 13th, 21. So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve. Mr. Carmody?
No to approve.
Mr. Wolfer?
Yes, to approve.
Ms. Harris?
Yes to approve.
Vice Chair Rice?
Yes to approve.
And Chairman Russick?
Yes. Your application's special exception's been approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Next application's 21-022, variance request for Tufano for 1451 Durham Road. Applicant is requesting a front yard of 29.8 feet where 29.8 feet exists and 75 feet is required to reconstruct and vertically expand a residential dwelling unit at 1451 Durham Road in an RU 80 district. This application is a duplicate to the one submitted and denied by the ZBA in April 2021. The application number is 21-002. Applicant has exhausted the appeal period for the April 19, 2021 ZBA decision to deny. Comments from the April 19, 2021 meeting still apply. Application is after the fact and result of zoning and building code violations issued January 2021. Applicant was the former owner of property as well as the builder through 12/21/2020. This office was advised of the building code violations, no proper building permits, no proper licensure, failed inspections, and no certificate of occupancy issued to determine any companion zoning violations. Dwelling was constructed in 1948, predate zoning, non-conforming, and entirely located in front setback. Dwelling permitted to remain, yet expansion of nonconformity requires variance approval. Construction completed, property sold, and dwelling currently occupied in violation. As a result of the April variance denial, coupled with inactivity toward remediation, since cease and desist order was issued July 1st, 2021. Property owner has elected to attempt exact same variance request in a final effort to remediate. Applicant was advised that the ZBA is not obligated to hear the same request for the same variance for a period of 6 months following the decision by the ZBA or a court, section 9.1M, Wallingford zoning regulations. The property also remains occupied with no certificate of occupancy issued by the building official. There is no hardship with regards to this application, and it is being sought to correct series of violations deliberately pursued. Section 9.1H1. We have some correspondence from the zoning office and I believe the health department also. Who's here for this application?
Hello.
Hi, please pull it close to you so you can,
No problem.
please state your name and address for the record.
Sarah Tofano, 1451 Durham Road.
Okay, I'm gonna allow you to explain this whole thing without, us voting on whether we rehear it or not. So go ahead, please explain how this all transpired.
Sure, I appreciate your time. I basically bought the house from the contractor who was doing the repairs on it. The first time I saw the house, the dormer was done.
So, what date was this that you,
This had to be like September
of what year?
of 2020.
September of 2020?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I decided to buy the property from him, and as a builder, shame on me, I shouldn't have assumed that he did what he had to do, but now it's my problem, and I'm trying to fix it because I'm in all these violations, and I've made the effort to have all of the building permit codes fixed. I have Nero HVAC in there fixing or making any permits that need to be done for the HVAC. All of those things are being done. You know, unfortunately, there was no way for me to know that these things weren't done ahead of time. So when I bought the house, I started getting letters from zoning and the town of Wallingford saying that I'm in violation, I can't, you know, there's no CO and all of these things, and this is not my forte. This is not my area of expertise. I didn't know that any of this stuff needed to happen until I started getting letters in the mail.
So when you purchased the property, it was in the middle of construction?
It was pretty much completed when I closed on the property.
Okay, did you use a realtor, or, I'm just trying to figure out.
I am the realtor, and there's no way that I would have known,
So as a realtor, I mean, I've bought properties.
right?
You didn't come down and pull the file on it to make sure what was done legally, and it was to check to see what, I mean, like, again, I'm been through the process, I know.
I mean, to be honest with you, it was a contractor that I trusted. He is somebody who I've worked with before, not in construction, but he's bought and sold properties with me. I didn't even think twice that I would even have to even be in this position. And, you know, at this juncture, I'm just trying to make it right and trying to fix his mistakes, because I obviously, you know, paid for the house. You know, it's my home, so I need to fix it.
So which stage are you at right now? Have you gotten building permits approved?
So all of the building permits, or all the building violations have all been taken care of except for the HVAC, which is being completed as we speak. I just spoke to Steve Nero earlier today. He said that he is in the process of pulling permits, and they're doing the heat loss test so that they can formally finish the process.
Okay. Amy, I'm going to call on you again. Explain this whole, I know back in April, I remember how we did it. There was nobody that showed up, and we had just voted, I believe we voted no, but we allowed to reapply. So explain how we got to this point, you know, from the beginning, as you know it, please.
Pardon me, you mean the original violations?
Yeah, I mean, how did
I'll give you the nutshell version.
Go ahead.
And when the applicant was in front of you, and it was a different applicant, same property owner in April.
All right.
Same application,
So
nothing has changed.
to back up,
Yep,
I guess you can refresh my memory. I mean, I kind of remember because we were virtual then. We weren't live like we are now. So who was the applicant? I remember it was a gentleman. It's coming back to me, and he didn't. So was it the builder who came the first time, or?
the course of events, this whole violation package was initiated by the building department, as you've read my comments, as a result of an individual purchasing a property to turn over, to flip, and taking it down almost to a rebuild, so more than a remodel, rebuilding a house, which, again, we could claim in kind because it predates zoning, so it's non-conforming in its location, but we can rebuild it in kind. But he pulled some building permits to do so, the contractor. He's familiar with the Zoning Board of Appeals process. He's familiar with the building permitting process. He's been in front of you for other applications before, so. But what he did was erect more than what the building permit accompanied with this dormer. In addition, there was some other strictly building issue violations, the most egregious one being that no certificate of occupancy. They were told nobody could occupy that residence. It's illegal to occupy it without that, and part of it was due to some HVAC concerns and work being done without proper licensure. So that's the builder. That's how it was done. That's building issues. As a result, I was advised of the expansion and any companion zoning violations, such as where we came in. Issued a notice of violation for after the fact. The builder was the applicant in April, and in the meantime, the property transferred to the current applicant and property owner, Ms. Tufano. She purchased the property from him. During the course of him turning it over, whatever means. So during the course of this violation process, we have a new property owner. She was the property owner in April. She was aware. The applicant was the builder. He came in, he handled all the paperwork, provided the variance, or asked for the variance request and forgiveness, and then did not show up for the virtual meeting, the ZBA meeting in April. The documents you have here now, and there is still no CO granted on the property to date, today. Again, that's not a zoning board of appeals issue, it just paints the picture. I advised the applicant, the property owner, that it had already been denied with ample information to know that it was self-created hardship. You can't, and that's why I cited the section of the regulations. If it's from applicant or owner's own doing, it's self-created. So for lack of grounds, it couldn't be granted, and you did not grant it. You unanimously denied it in April. And though you don't have to hear it again, and I offered the applicant the opportunity to do so as you invited that option in April upon denial, that if the applicant wanted to reapply. But what we have here is the 100% the identical application. There's no change, so, and it is within the 6 months. And the board being gracious to hear it again, but there's nothing that has changed in terms of the request or the materials presented, and the lack of certificate of occupancy continues as well 5 months later.
So, from what I understand from what you just said, is the property transferred ownership during knowing that there was violations?
The current property owner was the property owner in April when this was before you.
Right, no, but
Yeah.
But you're saying, from what I thought I heard you say, was that the builder who did all the reconstruction on this property was in violation, knew he was in violation, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
And the new property owner bought it while the builder knew he was in violation, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. It was in known violation when the property was transferred. Who knew, I can't speak to, but it was in violation, active violation. The property owner prior to the current property owner, which was the builder, was aware of that.
Okay, all right. So this was not transferred and then a surprise.
Correct. We have a builder and we have a realtor that neither one approached.
Well, I was
The
not
office.
aware that these were issues. He conveyed to me that he had done all the proper documentation. And again, this was somebody who just goes to show you can't trust anybody. He has been my client for a long time. And, you know, that's not something that I would have thought as a builder that he would have done. But now, you know, it's my problem, and I'm trying to make it right. Because it's you know, the dormer was constructed at the time that I saw the property. So I didn't know that there was anything not kosher with it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Ray?
I'm trying to understand this. You purchased the property from the guy who was building all this stuff, right?
Frank Rizzo.
You had no attorney?
I did have an attorney, and in fact,
They don't do any research or anything?
they don't, I mean, the thing is you don't, I mean, I guess I could have done a municipal search, but I don't think that that was, I mean, I use an attorney that does real estate all the time. I don't know, I guess I just didn't think that this would be an issue.
Yeah, but I don't see it your problem. I see you hiring an attorney, and they're supposed to do this job.
Right.
They didn't come back and
Well,
tell
we
you that
did,
this
well,
was?
we held some money in escrow because there were outstanding items that he had to do, but I didn't believe them to be permit issues. It was things like installing appliances and like little, you know, the blue tape kind of thing.
You had no idea that there was a problem?
No, honest to God, I did not.
And the property transferred to you
In December,
with no problem?
yeah.
No more. I don't have anything further. I don't-
Anybody else? Sam?
Yeah, just for clarification, you said you purchased this property in September of 2020?
No, I first looked at the property in September 2020.
Okay.
And then I purchased it, I closed December 21st in 2020.
December 21st, 2020. Were you aware that we denied an application on April of 2021 for this property?
I was aware of that, but I also was made aware that he didn't come to the meeting, which is why, like, if I knew he wasn't going to be there, I would have gone.
Okay,
He told me he was going to go.
sure.
Again, didn't think it was going to be a problem.
And did you not know that you had until May 9th, 2021 to appeal the decision of the ZBA?
I was not aware of that, no.
Okay, that's all I have for now.
Set, Sam? Anybody else?
Yes,
Karen?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you closed on the property in December of 2020.
Correct.
When did you start occupying the property?
As soon as I
Right away.
closed, right. I mean, I know that I was wrong now, but I didn't know that I was doing anything wrong at the time.
And the last of the violations is the,
It's almost done, I'm just waiting on the HVAC, and then they can come out and clear it.
at which time we expect that a certificate of occupancy will be issued?
I can't speak to the building codes. That is probably the more egregious violation, is it should not be occupied. From a zoning perspective, there was no due diligence, there was nothing done up front. This application is the exact application. The property owner is the same. The applicant was different from April. You made a determination in April based on the information given you. If you've been provided something different, you may get a different result. If it's the same information, perhaps we get the same result. The applicant was advised upon a meeting with the town planner and myself that there was a recourse, that when you get a denial from the Zoning Board of Appeals, it needs to be appealed to court. And there's an appeal period, and that was not utilized. So basically, we're just trying again.
I have a question. When you say the applicant was advised, was it the initial applicant? I realize.
This current applicant.
This current applicant.
But I
The
was
property
advised-
owner is the violator, not an applicant. Anybody can be a representative for somebody.
Okay.
The property owner of record is the violation, which is typical. If it didn't happen in this particular case, it's matter of course when properties are marketed or banks are soliciting either appraisals or issuing financing, that there is a visit to town hall for all building permits, everything on the land record, and whether things were sought in a proper manner. None of that happened.
So you just answered my question then, because I thought we had said there was a different applicant the first time, and I was going to ask you, could you actually be an applicant if you're not the homeowner? So
The same homeowner, the applicant was at the time representing the property owner was the builder in April. That's the only difference in the application, same property owner. It's the property that's in violation, not an individual.
But I wasn't made aware that he was even in the process. I thought it was all done. And then then I got a letter about the meeting, and I said, what do you mean this isn't done? So, I mean, I'm just trying to make it right. I mean, it's done well. I have pictures of it if you want to see it. I mean,
So I guess I'm still unclear. So the first time in April, I realized the homeowner has been the same. It's been the same homeowner. But was the applicant, did Frank Rizzo?
so Frank Rizzo pulled the variance application while I owned it, but it was after the fact. So he didn't notify me when I bought it that this wasn't done.
So it's Frank Rizzo who submitted everything the first time around in April, even
On her
on
behalf.
Got it.
It doesn't matter who the applicant is. The application is 100% identical.
I get
The
that.
presenter is different.
Were you aware that he was filing that application?
After the fact, after I got the notice that there was a meeting, but I had already closed at that time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? Do you have anything further you'd like to add before I close the public hearing and open up for discussion and action by the board?
No, just that I'm an active member in town. I own properties in town. I don't do anything not kosher. I'm just trying to fix it. I'm sorry. This has been such a long road. Just craziness. And I just want to make it right.
Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board. Just a reminder again, this is, we would vote to approve and then it's either up or down.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve variance 21-022 Tufano at 1451 Durham Road. Variance request for a front yard of 29.8 feet to reconstruct residential dwelling unit with vertical addition as shown on improvement location survey prepared for Rizzo Construction dated January 25th, 21, and plans received August 12th, 2021, subject to comments from the Health Department. So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve, Mr. Carmody.
No to approve.
Mr. Wolfer.
No to approve.
Ms. Harris.
No to approve.
Vice Chair Rice. No to approve. Chairman Russick.
No, your variance request has been denied.
Mr. Chairman, I Make a motion to approve 21-023.
No, that's, we're
I'm
just-
sorry.
Yep, we're done with that.
Sorry about that.
So next variance request is 21-023, variance request for Executive Auto Group doing business as Executive Kia, 1164 through 1174 North Colony Road. Applicant seeks a variance for a rear yard of 39 feet where 50 feet is required to construct an addition for vehicle service bays at 1164 to 1174 North Colony Road in an RF40 district. Site is an existing automobile dealership, Executive Kia, seeking to expand the vehicle service area. Applicant will be following ZBA determination with application for site plan approval from Planning and Zoning Commission. Proposed addition does not impede traffic flows on site nor alter identified parking or parking requirements. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Christopher Giuliano. I'm a licensed land surveyor and professional engineer. I maintain an office at 405 Main Street in the Aylesville section of town. I'm here tonight representing Executive Auto Group, and as Chairman Russick stated, we are looking to expand the existing Executive Kia facility. Mr. Orsini, the owner of the Executive Auto Group, would like to add more service bays onto the existing facility. And the only possible place to actually expand Executive Kia building is in the northeast corner, which I've shaded on the plan that was submitted. And as you'll note, at the southeast corner, the building is already little over 10 feet from the property line, and the existing northeast corner is 39 feet. So we really aren't expanding any closer than what is currently there. The hardship for this is that you have a very odd-shaped building that is perpendicular or parallel to the roadway, but the property itself isn't. The back line kind of comes from northeast to southwest. In addition, you have some grade issues. You have a second building on the property that's actually lifted up because it's on an island that was created and filled in using a block wall. So we really can't expand to the front because it puts us in the front yard setback of Route 5. To the south, that's where the bay doors are, so we really can't expand there. And again, we'd have zoning violations as well. And on the north, if we tried to expand it anywhere else but this northeast corner, we'd be cutting off our circulation. So this is actually the most logical place that we could put this addition. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
So I've been on that property, and you're just squaring up the building.
We are squaring up the building, and that corner is currently paved 100%, so there's no increase in impervious surface. They really don't park cars there other than when they pull them right out from service, so.
Right, because that is just, it's service bays now, correct?
That whole area back there is service bays.
So there is no parking there, it's just in and out of the service bays, it's a traffic area for the service bays.
Correct. And no public or customer parking uses that area. It's just for the employees to move cars out. Now they won't have to move cars out as quickly to get other cars in. This will add about 3 or 4 new bays, so it'll be less traffic for them. They'll be able to keep them inside the building and work on them.
And as it's stated, but there's no impact on the parking here?
No, there is not.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for the applicant?
So when you say there's no impact on parking, there's no increase in parking, or?
There is no increase in parking. That area currently isn't line striped for parking whatsoever. Basically, the only time vehicles are out there is when they pull them out after being serviced before they actually move them into a designated stall. So we're really not taking any parking away from customer, employee, or even inventory space.
Sorry, there's something wrong with my microphone this evening. And just for Amy, I mean, this still has to go through site plan approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission, correct?
That's correct. They'll be following this up with their standard site plan of modification.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else got any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? Hearing, seeing none, do you have anything further you'd like to add before we close the public hearing?
No, I'm all set at this time. Just thank you for your time.
All right. I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Okay, now we'll do it.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Make a motion to approve application 21-023, Executive Auto Group, DBA Executive Kia at 1174 North Colony Road. Variance request for a rear yard of 39 feet to reconstruct residential dwelling unit with vertical addition as shown on improvement location survey prepared for Rizzo Construction dated 1/25/21 and plans received on August.
Excuse me, I think you've crossed my application with the prior application there.
Yep. Point of order, my motion got duplicated.
Yep.
You're on your own. Citing the wrong plan from the previous application came out twice.
So just make a motion to approve, and we'll go forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that will suffice according to the submitted plans.
I wasn't even paying attention. How's that?
I'm sorry.
I was looking forward to the next application. Go ahead.
that be levity?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve. Mr. Carmody?
Yes, yes to approve.
Mr. Wolfer?
Yes to approve.
Ms. Harris?
Yes to approve.
Vice Chair Rice?
Yes to approve.
And Chairman Russick?
Yes to approve. Your application has been approved.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening.
All right, next variance request is 21-024, variance request for Throm at 1064 North Farms Road. Applicant seeks variance approval for front yard setbacks of 14 feet and 26 feet, where 60 feet is required, for two proposed additions: to erect a covered 6-foot by 50-foot front porch to the dwelling and a 24 by 94 addition with attached garage at 1064 North Farms Road in an IX district. Site is used residentially and as a farm predating the inception of zoning. Property also abuts the R40 district and is the first property within the IX district. Applicant seeks the purchase of the property to continue using residentially and expand the dwelling. Proposal includes removal of 4 deteriorating outbuildings. Existing dwelling situated entirely within the front yard requirement for the IX district, necessitating variances for any expansion, including vertically. Is there anybody here for this applicant? Come on up and have a seat, please. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Please state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth and Brian
Hold the
Thrum.
microphone nice and close to you so we can hear you.
Sorry. Elizabeth and Brian Thrum for the property at 1064 North Farms Road.
Okay, could you explain your application, please?
Okay. The house itself is non-conforming, the way it sits on the property. We are a family of 6, so we have 4 kids. We want to put an addition set back further than the house sits now. It's a small house on a nice piece of property. Unfortunately, it predates all of the zoning requirements, and they put it much too close to the street. So the addition would be set back. There's an existing garage there now, but the side of it is falling apart. The flooring is all torn up, so that will be removed because it's going to be on its way out. There are several rickety-looking sheds on that property, if you will. I'm not even sure what they're supposed to be. Tree fell through the roof. That will all be taken care of. There is one chicken coop on the property that is structurally sound. It just needs a new roof. So that will get taken care of. It will get scraped and painted. The rest will be removed from the property, and the property will be cleaned up. There's a front porch, and we just wanted to put a longer front porch because it's kind of small. We want to be able to put a couple of chairs out. There's some cows across the street, so we thought that would be a cute, like, country porch, if you will, and we can sit there and enjoy the view. But again, because the house is so close to the street, we need permission to expand the front porch.
So, looking at your drawing here, I see you're going to remove the garage and these other 3 structures, whatever they may be.
We're not even sure.
Right,
like,
and there's
we're-
still a structure that's going to stay back there?
Yes, if you're looking at the property, it's to the right of the house.
Yep.
On the right side. It's the chicken coop,
Okay.
it was called. It's structurally sound. We had everything inspected. It was good. There's a cement foundation there, so it doesn't make sense to tear it down because that would be a lot of work, and you'd have to have excavators take out all the cement and everything. All it needs is just some new shingles and,
And so then your new addition is going to go on the side of the house and then, like, continue on the driveway type of area?
yes, we're going to take down that rickety garage and put it right on the side there.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Karen, go ahead.
I just wonder, how long have you owned the property?
We haven't. We are looking to purchase the property. And it's contingent upon if this request passes or not, because the house is non-conforming. So in order to do all of this work to the property, if you will, we need permission first.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right? No? Okay, is there anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against? Is there anything further you'd like to add before we close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board?
Amy, did you have any questions for me? Okay. I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Chairman, I'll make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the variance request for front yards of 14 feet and 26 feet to construct addition with attached garage and covered front porch as shown on property of Wallace B. Krober, 1064 North Farms Road, dated April 10th, 1985, and plans received August 25th, 2021, subject to comments of the Health Department, received 9/13/21, and removal of 4 outbuildings as depicted in the submitted plan. That's 1064 North Farmers Road. So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve. Mr. Carmody?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Wolfer?
Yes to approve.
Ms. Harris?
Yes to approve.
Vice Chair Rice?
Yes to approve.
Chairman Russick?
Yes, your application's been approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next up is 21-025, variance request for 363 North Cherry Street Extension. Applicant seeks side yard setback of 15.5 feet where 25 feet is required to construct a 32-foot by 32-foot storage garage building at 363 North Cherry Street Extension in an I-40 district. Parcel currently non-conforming in area and use, residential, predating zoning. Applicant seeks to erect a 32 by 32-foot detached storage garage in the rear of the property. Such storage buildings, garages, are permitted buildings in use in industrial zones. Property owner also owns a budding parcel at 357 North Cherry Street Extension and erected the same size use structure in 2009 on that parcel. Applicant seeks to mirror the building size and location on the lot as was constructed at 357 North Cherry Street Extension. Side yard setback request is for boundary separating owners' 2 lots. Parcel abuts the railroad to the rear and thus has no setback requirement to the rear. Parcel is undersized for the zone. Request for side yard variance approval, however, does reduce the nonconformity of use of the property. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Stephen Marcello, 750 North Farms Road.
So explain your application for us, please.
I have a,
Pull the microphone nice and close to you so we can hear you.
what I'm looking to do is pretty much keep everything in conform, you know, everything's set with the tree boundaries I have on the property. So I felt that it was, you know, a nice location to keep everything uniform and parking addition between the buildings and whatnot.
What are you going to, what is the garage for?
Storage.
As far as just cars, trucks?
Furniture.
Furniture? Okay. And it's going to mirror, pretty much look like the neighboring property?
And I do have photos, if you like, I can.
Sure.
Thank you.
So this is the garage you built 2009. This is what this one's going to look like.
Exact image.
Exact image. Okay. Has anybody got any questions for the applicant? Sam? No? Nobody? Good? Karen?
I'm fine, thank you.
Ray?
No, I'm fine.
Anybody here to speak in favor of this application? Anybody here to speak against this application? Hearing none, you have anything further you'd like to add before I close the public hearing?
No, I'm all set, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing and open up for discussion and possible action by the board.
Make a motion to approve application 21-025. Excuse me.
Hold on one second. Karen, what?
I had a question for Amy.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Okay,
Can I
we'll
ask-
stop this right.
Can I ask that?
Go ahead.
Amy, I just wondered, the last sentence here, it says, "Request for side yard variance approval, however, does reduce the nonconformity of use of the property." And I was,
Improper English from the zoning enforcement officer. The use is being reduced, the nonconformity of use has not relative to the side setback. So I've sort of made a run-on sentence
Okay,
there.
okay.
So,
I was
so
trying to
forgive me.
figure out what that
The
meant.
setback is the only thing in question. The use of the property is actually moving more toward conformity. It's being used residentially. It's an industrial zone. So what he's proposing to use the garage for would be allowed.
okay, thank you, sorry.
That's just fine. Thank you. Go ahead, Tom.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I gave Karen permission to talk to Amy without you okaying, so I apologize.
I share the wealth up here. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve 21-025, variance request to construct a side yard 15.5, construct a 32 by 32 garage storage building as shown on site plan. Land of Stephen and Deborah Marcello, 363 North Cherry Street, extension dated April 2nd, 2019, subject to comments from the Health Department.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Yes, to approve.
Mr. Wolfer?
Yes, to approve.
Ms. Harris?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Rice?
Yes to approve.
And Mr. Russick?
Yes to approve. Your variance request has been approved.
Thank you again.
Good luck. Motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve minutes dated Monday, July 19th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Also, everybody got, I just want to make sure, just, it was here, was this Freedom of Information Requirements memorandum from Janice? Everybody's got it? Okay, just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question on the notes that came with the package on the Connecticut Federation of Planning and Zoning Quarterly newsletter. It says here that we're going to be changing, or requirement by law, accessory apartments, and also recreational cannabis, affordable housing, outdoor dining, and parking spaces. Are we going to get involved in that, or is planning and zoning going to be making the changes in the regulations?
Planning and zoning will be, and our town planner, Mr. Pagini, is already addressing many of them. There's different language in some where we can opt out of some things, and planning and zoning has already addressed the cannabis law where, and prohibited it in all zones in Wallingford, which was our right. Same, and there's other restrictions and things with regard to we can opt out of certain portions of the new legislation, and they'll be addressing it. There won't be anything for ZBA, but we'll keep you abreast. It's something to be informed about, certainly.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're quite welcome, Tom, anytime. All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hallelujah.